We all got our teddies? And are we ready? For chapter 13, we're approaching the end. Captain Taylor stood triumphant at the helm, his long grey hair billowing from under his black captain's hat. His laugh could be heard loud and clear. As the Centurion settled level with the capture, Taylor called out, "Best to surrender now, my boy. Another shot and you're sunk." Jenna was terrified. There really was no way out of this. As Jenna was ready to sit and cry, Captain Jones stepped forward and called out, "There will be no surrender this day. You'll sink this ship before you take it." "So be it, boy." "You heard him, boys. Round 2, charge cannons!" He raised his arm ready to call the final shot when another crack tore through the sky. 4 of the cannons on the Centurion exploded in a shower of sparks. Taylor and his crew fell to the deck. From the clouds beneath emerged the Phoenix. Its blazing red sails a welcome sight to all aboard the capture. A woman's voice called out clear, bringing a smile to Jenna's face. "You're outnumbered, Taylor. For once, someone snuck up on you." The next sound was unnerving. It was the sound of laughter, but it came from the Centurion. Taylor stood and laughed louder. When he called out, his voice was happy. "Outnumbered, yes. Outgunned, no. Unleash hell!" At his word, all 16 cannons on that side erupted in a hail of lightning, tearing chunks from the Phoenix and decimating its sails. With hardly a pause, Taylor's crew swung out on ropes to the smaller ships. Taylor himself swung to the capture. The crews were quickly disarmed and gathered together on the deck of the capture. Taylor had the captains and the remaining crew lined up, ready for his judgment. He paced, looking at each of them with a smirk. He stopped at Captain Robinson and smile widened. He quickly kicked at her ankle, sending her leg sliding across the deck. Several gasps could be heard as they all saw that her leg was metal and worked with cogs. He laughed once more. "So I take your leg again, Robinson. You didn't learn your lesson. Maybe this one will hit harder." Ju gritted her teeth, determined not to give away her fear. "As for you, Jones, you should know the capture is now mine, and you will be its cabin boy. Now let's see if the Phoenix really can rise from a blaze." He raised his arm, signalling his ship, where the cannons all began powering up. Before he could bring his arm down, he was thrown to the deck, a foot landing squarely between his shoulders. As he landed, he spun to look, seeing Caleb stood over him. "You took my arm, you—" Before he could finish, he was punched square in the jaw and dragged to his knees, where a hand cannon was held to his head. Taylor stood up, straining his back and smiling at Caleb. "I'll take a lot more than that, lad. Now watch as I take this ship and destroy the Phoenix." He turned and raised his arm once more. This time he was interrupted by another voice, a voice they all recognized. "This ends now, Taylor." A small ship, no bigger than a bus, emerged from the clouds, a small mast holding a patchwork sail and a single cannon mounted at the front. With his foot rested on the cannon, Tom stood proud, wearing a billowing jacket and holding a lighting stick in his hand, like a sword. Taylor called out to him, "What are you doing here, Ellis? You really think you can save your friends with that ratty little dinghy and a single cannon? You must have lost your mind." Tom replied with a question of his own. "Would you like to see what my cannon can do, old man?" Taylor stretched out his arms and smiled. "By all means, lad. Make it a good shot, it'll be your last." Tom lowered the lighting stick to the fuse on his cannon. The silence was unbearable. All Jenna could do was watch as this got more and more ridiculous. After what felt like hours, but was more likely a few seconds, the single cannon boomed. The boom was loud and seemed to echo all around. They all watched as Tom's cannonball hit the deck of the Centurion, making a single hole. What no one expected was the dozens of holes that peppered the hull and turned the mast into a shower of splinters. The Centurion was almost destroyed. While everyone looked on in amazement, Tom's voice could be heard over the chaos. "I never said I was alone. The skies are once again mine." Before anyone had a chance to take in what was happening, at least 24 more ships emerged from the clouds and began playing the drums. The savages had chosen a side, and thankfully, it was the side of good. Taylor looked panicked and began shouting at them all. "You think you can stop me? I rule the skies, not some savages. You will not." What happened next was a shock to them all, and looked to Jenner as though Captain Taylor was giving a cannonball a hug as he was thrown through the railings and overboard. Tom called out to everyone, "Sorry!" But heavens was he getting boring. "Now, let's get you all back to port."